Hello everyone and welcome back to Medellin in Colombia. I hope you're all having a wonderful day wherever you are or whatever you're doing. And before I start this video, I just want to clarify one thing. Yes, my hair is a different colour. And yes, it is not proper blonde. But as anyone will know that has naturally dark hair, getting your hair to a proper blonde is basically like the obstacle course on the Krypton Factor, the Countdown Conundrum, or winning the Crystal Maze. Unless you're from the UK, you won't have a clue what the fuck I've just said. And yes, I'm swearing, but I don't care. So anyway, today is August the 15th, 2018, and literally the last video I did when I sat down like this was on June the 20th, I think it was, in Havana, so almost 2 months ago. And with the exception of the two videos I've done recently on the tours in Medellin, which you may or may not have seen, please check them out if you haven't. I haven't really done anything on YouTube, and I thought it's about time I sat down and did a bit of an update video in terms of why I haven't been uploading videos, what I've been doing, what's to come, that sort of thing. So I'm going to tell you a bit of a story of calamity, disaster and catastrophe, which is pretty much my life over the last couple of months. So I would advise that you pause this video in a moment, go and get a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, or maybe even a bottle of tequila. That would probably be a better option. So on that note, let's get going. Okay, so let's rewind time to when I was in Cuba, in La Habana. Havana, I absolutely love Havana. It was one of the best places I've ever been, which you would have seen in those videos. And when I was there, basically I thought, okay, I need to book my accommodation for Bogota, Colombia. And one thing I didn't know, that with Airbnb, and I'm in an Airbnb now, this isn't actually my room, but never mind. And with Airbnb, basically in Cuba, it turns out that you can message Airbnb hosts, you can browse through properties, but you can't actually book and pay for accommodation because Airbnb is not registered in Cuba. Therefore, I couldn't book anywhere. So what I did was I booked a hostel for the first night because I was arriving very late, about midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning at Bogota Airport, and you know me, I'm a complete idiot, and finding an Airbnb, even in daylight, is literally like the hardest thing in the world. So I made an executive decision and booked a hostel, which is much easier to find. I messaged an Airbnb host in J7 Nero, in the centre of Bogota. You'll notice that my Spanish pronunciation has improved somewhat. And I messaged this Airbnb host and said to her, look, I have a problem, explain the Cuba problem. Would it be okay for you to reserve the place and I'll pay for it as soon as I get to Bogota Airport? Yes, that's absolutely fine, no problem. She told me that she lives in Mexico, I think in Tijuana or somewhere like that, and that a guy named Manuel would let me in to the property on the day that I was checking in. So I slept at the hostel. Well, I say slept, it was about 3 hours. And then the next day I got up and set about messaging this woman. I can't remember what her name is now. Hell bitch from hell, it turned out to be, because she didn't reply all day. And as always with Airbnb, number one, the map was completely wrong. Number two, the address was just the road name, number, whatever, but there was no building number at all. The number that she'd given me for Manuel was wrong, didn't connect. And the number that she had, which was obviously a Mexican number, also didn't connect. So I had absolutely no way of contacting this woman. So basically I complained to Airbnb. She didn't reply to messages all day on Airbnb. And wait for it, she got removed from Airbnb for being basically a corrupt criminal. So job done. David 1, Colombia 0. So at that point, I thought, okay, I need to book somewhere else. So I stayed in the hostel for another night. I then managed to find somewhere quite close to the other place with a lovely lady called Claudia. It turned out that was not the case. She also told me that a guy named Manuel would also be letting me into the property, which I was slightly concerned about. And also by this point, by the way, I had run out of money. Basically because I was waiting for about £200 worth of refund from Airbnb, which takes up to 15 days. So I had to borrow money from my mother for literally the first time in this entire time. So complete disaster. Disaster number one. Then I moved into this place for 3 nights, that's all I could afford at that time, and Claudia was lovely. I don't think I met Manuel, he didn't let me in, it was Claudia, she was there after all, and she was lovely, very helpful, very welcoming, that sort of thing. And I had 3 days there, absolutely fine. I did lots of English lessons, no problem. It got to a few days later when I just thought I'd had enough of Bogota. I couldn't find anywhere else to stay that was suitable. So I thought, screw this. I'm getting on a 10-hour bus to Medellin. This was July the 31st. We're getting there, okay? And I thought Claudia was great, but until she left me an absolutely shitty review on Airbnb. And you know why? Because apparently the place was not clean. I will stop doing that any moment now. The place was fucking clean. The only issue she said about, which, and wait for it, I hadn't washed the sheets before I left. I'm sorry, but I've worked in a hostel in Japan. You don't wash sheets. I've stayed in hostels for years. I've stayed in Airbnbs for less time than that. But I've never had to wash sheets before I leave a place. I have done it when I was in Mexico, but purely because I had a great relationship with the Airbnb host. And I'm like that. I'm willing to do that sort of thing because I think it's only nice, you know. So yeah, I replied to her shitty message back. I will not be staying with that bitch ever again. By this point, I had booked a place in Medellin in Bombona, which is close to San Antonio, which is in the centre, if you know, Medellin, okay? And it was with a gay couple, and I thought, okay, I'm a gay, maybe we'll get on. How wrong was I? They also had a cat called Josefina, which, oh, my camera just moved. Yes, they had a cat called Josefina, who was the most vicious, feline bitch I've ever known in my life. My hands were scratched to fuck. They are like a patchwork quilt, you know, whatever. They said to me, which I still don't understand why, they said to me that they just got back from Europe from a month's holiday and that the place wasn't ready for rent yet. And then they said, okay, you can stay there for a week for free. I was like, oh, wicked, I have no money, so I can stay there for free, fantastic. And then I would pay for the next 4 weeks. When I got there, it was fine. I only ever met one of them. I don't know where the other one was. And we had dinner, you know, we were talking. But that was the end of the conversation. They didn't talk to me, or he didn't talk to me for the rest of the week that I was there. Yes, a week. So after being mauled to death by the cat 24 hours a day while doing English lessons, I realised that this guy didn't actually like me. I didn't really like him either. We didn't talk, despite my efforts to make conversation and, you know, build a relationship. It got to about 4 days later when, wait for it, there's no Manuel, don't worry, possibly. He told me that I had to move, I had to leave, because his sister was coming to stay. But actually I think this was a blessing in disguise because I'd literally had enough of the place. So I found somewhere to stay in Barrio Conquistadores in Medellin, which is close to Unicentro supermarket, shopping centre. This was in a much more residential area, very quiet. These are the positives, by the way. However, the people I was staying with were a couple from Cali, and the list of things you couldn't do at this Airbnb were longer than the list of things that you could. And I really felt like anything I touched would explode and disaster would strike. And which actually happened because I dropped a glass in the kitchen by accident. I offered to buy a full pack of glasses, which by the way I haven't done yet. And I was basically ridiculed for the entire time I was there because of the glasses. There was 2 glasses I smashed, not just the one. Basically, I stayed there for a month, for the whole of July, and this was the time that things changed. So I completely lost all motivation with YouTube. I just had no creativity, no ideas, nothing. I couldn't be bothered, and that also went along with things like Instagram, Facebook. I deleted them. I felt like, why do we share everything that we do? Why is it necessary? Sometimes it's nice just to cut yourself off from everything, which I think I learned in Havana, and that I'm glad that has been something that's stuck with me, and it's still like that now in a way. So that has changed me fundamentally, I think. And you know, and one thing I said in a live stream, and I said in one of the Havana videos, that my main focus was for Colombia is not travel, it's recovering my bank balance, which, wait for it, I'm glad to say has happened. I am in the best situation with money that I have been in since maybe a year ago. You know, in November last year, I flew from London to Malaysia. In my overdraft, I had £200 of my overdraft left. That was it, which right now I think is insane. But right now I'm at the point where I'm saving for future travels. I'm much happier with that sort of thing. The other thing that happened to me was that, you know, I've said it before that I want to have some resemblance of a life again after almost 2 years of travel. And you know what? I realised that's not what I want, because I started going out a lot. I was drinking, sleeping around, let's be honest, meeting lots of people, some people slightly unsavoury that I probably shouldn't be hanging out with, but I did. But I did meet some nice people that were great, and I'm actually staying with one of them right now. I think as a result of that, I got very depressed. I was very isolated. I was just doing English lessons every day. I had no motivation to do anything, and I just started to think, is being in a long-term base really what I want? You know, my mind was completely changed, and right now I'm completely in two minds about it. To be honest, I'm swaying more towards no, it's not what I want. I want to continue travelling, which is brilliant, and that's probably what you want to hear. Yes, but the good news is I'm feeling a lot better now. I don't feel suicidal anymore, which is great, and this is an example of you know, the emotions you go through when solo travelling and working online, digital nomad, that sort of thing. And I'll always be honest about it. You know, because why not? Who cares? It might help some of you out there that are doing the same thing, that feel the same way. You just got to keep doing what you're doing and go with your gut, go with your intuition. So, you know, like I said, I want to travel more, and I'm going to do that, which I'll come on to in a bit. Other things that have happened, basically, I lost my wallet, my bank card, yet again. So I'm using Western Union again, and don't ask about my bank problems. If you want me to do a video about it, put it in the comments. And the other thing, that you know, I smashed my phone in Valladolid in Mexico. I got a new one. I then left that phone in a taxi in the middle of the day. I wasn't drunk, so I then had to get another phone. But I'm really happy with the new phone I've got. It's a Samsung, so I'm very pleased with it. So it was a blessing in disguise once again. And right now I moved to, where am I? Belén in Medellin, with my friend Leo, who is from Venezuela. And basically he needs somewhere to stay, I need somewhere to stay, so we thought, why not just stay together? And it's all working out fine. I'm here for 2 more weeks before I go back to Bogota, then I'm going back to Mexico City. This is all definite, 100%. The flight's been booked since I was in Cuba, so I cannot wait to go back to Mexico, just to clarify, because there's so much more I want to do there. I'm really excited to get back there. I think this time that I've had in Colombia has been necessary in order to recover my finances again, which is the reality of long-term travel. I can't do, you know, doing videos costs money. You know, I can't go out 3 times a week to film videos and do 25 to 30 English lessons a week, and still manage to survive. Other things that I've been doing, which I will do a separate video on as well, which I might actually film after this, if you're lucky. Things like exploring other avenues to make money or to save money. So the 2 videos I did with the tour companies, Medellin City Services and Comuna 13 Tours, and this is something that a lot of YouTubers talk about. They say, oh, a company approached me to do a video. No, they didn't. You messaged them and then they offered it to you for free, which is exactly what happened. You might see in the description of those videos, I did state quite clearly that I got those tours for free, purely because it was an exchange for promoting those companies on my channel and Instagram. And that's something I've always wanted to do. The first one I wasn't very happy with because it was the first time I was filming a tour. It's very difficult, so different from filming a normal video. But the second one, I love it, the Comuna 13. Unfortunately, hardly anyone is watching it because YouTube hates me and is not recommending any of my videos while I'm in Colombia. So as soon as I get back to Mexico, we should be okay. I'm talking very fast and this video is going on very long. It's 14 minutes, I'm going to stop in a minute. Other things I'm doing are, I actually have been approached by a couple of companies in terms of travel products, in terms of things that are relevant to this channel. And I will talk about in the other video about monetary compensation, if you like, for these and how it all works and my experience with it so far. Obviously I'm not the expert, but these products are basically free products that I'm getting in exchange for promoting them on my channel. So I'm not going to be getting paid for those, if you know what I mean. But that's something I'm exploring in the future, because Google AdSense, forget about it. If you're a YouTuber and, you know, lucky enough to be monetized like I am at the moment, you'll make fuck all, basically. You know, I can do a couple of English lessons and I'll make the same amount doing that than I would in a month worth of YouTube, if I'm lucky, you know. The lighting is changing as I move my hands. So that's my update. You know, I will do probably another video talking about my upcoming future travel plans, because they are literally, it's massive. I have so much planned, and because, you know, by the time I leave Mexico, I will have a great amount of money, well, not great amount, but a good amount of money in order to be able to do that, to bring you lots more videos, and hopefully get back to the 3 a week thing I was doing. So yeah, that's it. If you've got this far in this video, because I know it is very long, but it is a bit of an update, and I've been talking really fast. Apologies to my English students who are watching this, because I should be talking slower. But you can do the translations on the top in about 10 different languages to help you out. Thank you for watching. Why don't you tell me what you've been up to in the comments below. I will be doing a live stream maybe this week, probably this week, and hopefully by then my hair has gone a different colour. Yes, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.